Good morning. Welcome to the breakfast show. Now, last Friday, we saw the big drop, which is expected pretty much as the war continued on Russia and Ukraine. No doubt earlier on in one of the talks that I did mention that the market will probably retake the old high on 5th of May, but I admit I am wrong about this market as the war continued to drag on and the talk about US FOMC about raising at least a 50 basis point has caused and shook that market that we've seen today, and we'll continue to see more selling on the technology stock. Definitely on the good news is the plantation stock, where we have the Indonesian export banning export as the prices of all the crude oil prices as well as cooking oil as well as grapeseed oil continue to move higher. Now let's take a look at what we have for you this morning, right? And in our trade with SMARTRobie share trading stock this morning in here. Today we'll be sharing about don't trade the market until you know this setup, and that's what setup are we talking about? Definitely the Pentagon guider. I'm going to share with you a couple more things to ensure you have very high success rate in here. Now, what is Pentagon guider? We'll be talking about it, but using a couple of examples. Smart Money, why Smart Money is buying Kawan, FFCB, and B Auto as example. We also look at last trade that we have on Haptic, which we entered much earlier. About 2 weeks ago. And why are we so confident about some of these trades? I'm going to share with you as we continue to unveil some of the secrets behind our Pentagon guider in here. But very importantly is to continue to clear a lot of the doubts that we have about 100 over trades in here. And there's always some fixed pattern that we constantly make money. Of course, beginner can also do this with limited knowledge, as I shared with you before in here. And how can you learn more? Find out more information in here. Now, if you look at the Pentagon guider, which is a smart money tracker in here, we have sign of strength and sign of weakness in here. You could see we have 4 sign of strength in here. No confirm no supply. That's the one we debuted also last Friday. We have line change, spring and test. We also have confirm no demand too, which is also a sign of weakness. On top of that, we also have sell-off and uptrend. These are the more advanced pattern about the sign of weakness in here, and this is no other than created by the father of VSA, Tom Williams in here. Okay, so let's take a look at the Pentagon guided trading portfolio so far. Now, with the sell-off that we've seen early on mentioned by the Russian and Ukraine, we have the down market. LSOF is down 7%. LB Aluminum is down 6%. A little bit of in the silver lining is Symphony Life, which is the property maker in here, continue to do well. And now we all know, if you look at this, let me just switch to a wider chart here. And if you can see from the Pentagon guider, you can look at hot sector. So what's really hot right now from the chart that we see here is plantation stocks, energy, industrial, transportation, and construction. So that's pretty much tells you where we are heading. If your stocks is not within these hot sectors, very likely it's not going to do so well. All right. So those of you who have your plantation stock, continue to run it. If you have a target, taken it before and then switch over to something too, which have some sort of a very good pattern that we talk about it here in this show is don't trade it until you know those patterns. And what we are talking about, stay on and more to share in this in here. Now also, previously we have our taken about 3,000 ringgit profit in here, and such the January to April, our returns has been 6.8% and 2.11% versus the KLCI. All right. And we have 2 strategy, which is the day trading strategy which we do on Friday, and the longer term one, which is the Pentagon guider, is this Monday in here. So on episode 173, we continue to beat the KLCI market. You can see the blue line above the green line. And if you want to follow us, do scan the QR code that you see on the screen in here and able to follow some of our stock pick that we have continue in this market here. All right. And let's take a look at where we are this morning on our Pentagon guider. Now we can see on our Pentagon guider for our KLCI, it is really retesting back the KLCI at 1600 level. You could see from here. Let me just bring this up a bit, right? You can see this 1600 level is the level that he has to bring. So we were hoping that the market could break up here. Of course, you want to check out the foreign fund flows. So one of the things you can check out the foreign funds flows. If I'm not mistaken, you need to go to the KLCI, to our Trade VSA website in here, and also looking at our Pentagon guider. This is the Bursa sector. This is the winner, and no, you need to go over to tradevsa.com website in here. All right, we have the live prices in here, and many of these. Let's take a look at the live prices so far. Hit on that one. And this morning, you can see KLK is up. All the plantation is up. Let me just switch to a wider chart here. You can see, yeah, some of the other sectors like the metal, which took a hit too. And we have Dialog. Dialog should be doing okay. I wonder why some of the energy stocks are not doing so well. Only the plantation stocks you could see from here. So this is where we are right now. So just let me exit from here. And we have this chart that we've seen. Switching back to a wider chart here. You can see this today, market this morning. If you check from the chart, we have the market down 7 points just on top of me in here. So it's sort of really hitting that resistance, the 1600, that level. It's important this market continue to pound and pound. It has to break higher because we have the what? We have the general election 15 coming up, right? So this is what we talk about. The general election 15 coming up. So that is going to give you a lot more room for so-called catalyst to move higher. But no doubt it is still red Pentagon. Well, keep in mind we are still in the red Pentagon territory in here. All right, let's move on to something next. Is our green Pentagon in here, which we talk about is Kawan Food. Now if you look at it, before we have the breakout of the green Pentagon, now remember we always want to enter on the opening here, the opening of the green Pentagon. You can see we have low volume here just before the 2 times of the line change. You can see there's one line change, another line change in here. And let's take a look at this morning. Where is Kawan Food? Okay, Kawan, you can hit that one. Switching to a wider chart here. Oops, sorry about that. Let's get back to the chart that we have. Okay, we are here, right? And you can see Kawan Fruit, just switching to a wider chart here, which is 7. And there you go. So this is where we are right now. And looking at the current live stock prices, it is down slightly, minus 0.6% after a nice breakout that we have, which is about a 4% for Kawan Food, which is very, very uncharacteristic because most of the time, some of these stocks really took its time out. But also, I think it is also reacting to the sector and economy reopening, and that's why Kawan Food. But more important, if you look from the chart here, is the low volume. You could see here, this is a low volume and this is low. Every time when the market makes some sort of a low volume in here, pay attention. Yeah, this is the low volume that we talk about in here, and all these are those patterns. So don't trade any stock until you know this pattern in here. Okay, so let's go on to our next stock that we'll be talking about. Let me switch back to my laser pointer here. Okay, next one is B Auto. You can see B Auto. All right, B Auto is the next one. Again, it is economy reopening. A lot of the stocks definitely moving up. Economy reopening as well as plantation. We know the hot sector, that's the one looking. Again, we do see this, again, example of low volume before that big line change. If we have the spring, many tests, and no doubt, that's why we see B Auto, a third time breakout in here, low volume. But it did make a nice move last Friday. Let's take a look at B Auto. Okay, B Auto. We have B Auto. It's up almost 4%. And this morning, let's look at the live stock prices. Switching to a wider chart here, is down 2%, of course, because today the market is undergoing experience of profit taking. I'm sure some of your charts are undergoing too. Now, if you have any stocks that you want me to take a look at it or care to comment, just put it up in the on the comment. I'll be looking into it. All right, let's move on to next, which is our next Robi FA. Now remember, Robi FA is some of those stocks that has very good fundamental. Let's take a look at FFCB. This is one of them, and you can go MFCB in here, and you go to stock fundamentals, and this should give you a very nice ratings of let's take a look at it, 6 out of 8 with a PE of 8 and a ROE of 18 times. So that is undervalued in here. And if the market were to recorrect itself, and it's also one of those charts that is utility, which is not love unless more analysts writes about it, but they are in the green energy, which is, you know, mainly on the hydro dam in Laos. I think it's Laos, right? So they're getting some fair bit of revenue in here. Will this move in tandem what we've seen? Let's take a look at MFCB this morning on the livestock prices. And you can see it's also down 1.1%, a nice pullback. But notice we have an upthrust. So usually upthrust, the market will tend to move a bit weaker in here, like what we've seen here, but move up and then pull back and then move up again. See, upthrust continue to stay on. So if we can hold on, this will be the third day down, depending on what's the closing today, and we shall see in here. But very important again, pay notice to this low volume. Let me just switch to a wider chart here so you could see this. This is what I'm talking about. All right. If you have any question, just pencil those in down. And remember, this episode we are talking about, don't trade the pattern until you know this setup. Now, I'm going to compare with one of the trades that worked pretty well was D-Sonic, and also D-Sonic is one of those general election 15 shares. So you can see episode 172, which is the episode that we did previously. This was the green Pentagon entering here, right? And then what happened next? You could see the chart actually moves up higher in here. A nice one, very important. You can see the characteristic is all the low volume. You got the Pentagon guider moving up, and that's the signature of smart money in here. You can see upthrust been taken out in here, lots of low volume here, got lots of nice tests in here, and above what we call the railway track 20 and 40. That's all you got to learn, right? So for beginners, definitely this is something that will put you in very favorable. Now, if you have seen what it is, that's a 11.8% from the to last Friday, of course, from the next bar of opening price. As soon as you see the Pentagon, the opening of the next price in here. So if you look at that, that is how much would you be profiting. So let's take a look using our calculator here. So with a $5,000 trade, right, times what we call let's say 12%, that is already a 600 ringgit move in 1 week. Just think of it, right? The kind of profits. Right? Of course, you don't win all the time, right? I'm just saying this is one of those trades that work. 600 ringgit potentially to be part of your income trading method. Those of you who want to trade in here, definitely you want to look at it. So you need to have some sort of trading plan. Like we always said before, without a trading plan, you're as much as well gamble in the market. But if you can do a little bit of trading plan, a little bit of education, investing time, perhaps this potential of 600 ringgit may be yours. So think about it, okay? So just keep that in mind. So let's take a look at the other trades that we have here. And other segment is the Pentagon Guider Fact Check. Now again, our Pentagon Guider is featured in our VSA 360. And I want to share with you, that's why here we talk about don't trade those patterns until you know this setup is the 77% success rate. Now, how do we know that? What you want to do for those of you who have the VSA 360, go over the Pentagon Guider, and when you see this ST, it corresponds to the short-term trend, and the LT correspond to the long-term trend. And what you want to do is put in -5 and -5. All right, that's all you need to do. So it will sort of sort out, and you can see from here, 41 stocks, okay? 41 stocks is been sorted out to only 15 stocks, right? So out of 15 stocks, we have 2 stocks that are break even. And what we do, we actually look back to 25th of March, which is about 1 month. That's why we talk about giving it 20 days for the trade. Just like, if you were to cook or you were to bake a cake, what do you need time to bake a cake? 20 minutes to 30 minutes. You need time for the cake to been baked. You need time for the flour to rise. You need time for the sugar to melt. And this is the same thing too. Smart money, once they accumulated, they will push up, right? And we said before, usually within 20 moving days that we talk about in here, right? So we actually look back to 25th of March, and that's why you will notice we are winning 10 out of possible 13 trade that was picked up by Pentagon Guider. And that's how we have the high success win rate. You need to give it a bit time in here. So you can see from here, of course, Pacific Oriental were the big ones, NESCOM, some are smaller ones in here. And this one we don't count. If it is a 0, we take it as 2 break-even trades, all right? Don't trust me for that. Check out the VSA 360 and watch out and hold on to. We will give you a sneak preview to our VSA 360 for those of you who want to try out our VSA 360 Pentagon Guider in here. Right now, for our short lessons today for the beginner in here, very important, we want to wait for the green Pentagon to appear. Right, we enter again, just like the D-Sonic trade on the opening price. Don't let it run. Don't let it run. Right, or get in on the opening price in here and select the stocks that have signed the accumulation on the left and lots of sign strength. And for our VSA 360 subscriber, use the LT and the ST checklist, so that will ensure you have very high win rates. Very high win rate, 76% high win rates, despite what we've seen currently in this market are pretty bad. We have seen also the green Pentagon has turned to red in here. Follow the smart money by following the green Pentagon in here. But if there is a red Pentagon, beginner or you can stay out for that matter in here. So to ensure that you continue to have new money, fresh ammunition to do those trading here. So keep that in mind as one of those morning lessons that we want to share with you in here. Now on our last Pentagon Guider trade, we have the Hyaptic, which we enter here. Right, the trade actually moves sideways, and then finally we have a line change. But the last 2 days, including today, started to correct back. But again, we want to hold it and see in 20 days whether we'll make some money out from it. Not all trades will end up to be good, just like we've seen you, the Pentagon Guider, looking at the VSA 360, a back testing. And that's why we continue to showcase to you, right? On Friday session, we do another screener. Today, we just want to focus on Pentagon Guider to show you the high success rate that you probably have. Unlike with other screeners, ours does give you a very good success rate. So any beginners, definitely if you are a beginner, something you want to try it out too. Pentagon Guider is still in the blue trend zone right now. So we still want to maintain this in a long trade. Yeah, long trade for that one. So let's do a summary in here, right? As you can see before, Pentagon Guider, first we want to filter out, make sure we follow the TP and SL, which is the target profit and stop loss at R1 and R2. So you can check out using the SMARTRobie trading plan and exit. So let's take a look example in this case of Hyaptic. Okay, just switch over to a wider chart here and Hyaptic, and we're going to go on to our trading plans. So we have the profit target, it's 475. Okay, you can look from here, 475. You want a bit higher, will be 0.55. Now remember, on the backdrop of the weaker KLCI, this may not be possible. Now we also want to have the stocks when it started to move up, just like what we saw for D-Sonic, right? Hyaptic has that railway track yet. Keep that in mind. We will up bar close, and it's one to be higher volume increasing. And if you're VSA 360, use the ST and LT with a -5, and check out those win rate in here, right? And of course, today, if you have a good trades, I haven't seen any great trades in yet. We don't have any trades that's what I'm not doing any trades this morning in here. But if I do find something, I would likely to do it because I like to do those around the 47 cent to the $1. That's my personal preference, right? And to ensure high win rates, stay out when the KLCI is red Pentagon. So keep that in mind. Now, this is a testimonial from one of our user in here and also one of our supporter, Mr. Baptist. As I said before, just using the Pentagon Guider, the VSA 360, you could see we have a very high win rates of 77% in here. So that's why he said that he was a skeptic, but with the simple method, it's made it possible anyone with the plugin to make money for that one. All right, as we share here before in here, and very important, we continue to share with you. Wait for the green Pentagon, wait for the volume, We want to see more breakout, just like we want to see the KLCI breaking above the 1620, continue to hit higher, because we believe right now we have the GE15 coming in here. Trade with the trend. That's why we want to have the railway track, which is trending up, and don't be greedy. In the case of Hyaptech, we are looking at 47.5. Probably we want to take a bit of profit in here. Trade with a plan. Have a stop loss using the ATR stop loss. And very important to control your emotion in here. We have something for you guys. Just stay on with the on. And today's sharing, just to summarize in here, don't trade the market until you know this setup, the reaccumulation, the low volume with the STLT of -5. That will ensure you have better high win rates as high as 77% in the example of the 25th March in here. We have a couple of stocks we have taken in here. Kawan. We have MRCB. I didn't show you VS in here. We didn't have enough time, but check out VS on the Pentagon Guide 2 in here. So by continuing to do many of those trades like what we did before, we backtested 100, 200 over trades. We know there are some fixed patterns like we shared with you on D-Sonic that continue work time and time again. And that's why we are trading the real money here. All right. And if you are a beginner, definitely you can do it in here. Just like buying, holding it for 20 days in here, and at least Pentagon Guide, the VSA 360 had done much of the work. Now, of course, those of you who are not a VSA 360 user, this is an opportunity for you to test drive for a 10-day trial. Okay, so sign up for our 10-day trial in here with a 30-minute consultation and training in here. That's a QR code, and is also used by our turtle trader Rosin Tate, and make pretty good impressive return for the first 2 months during the trading turtle trader contest in here. So check it out in here. Definitely lots of benefit in here for our trade VSA demo in here. All right, or you can subscribe for as little as 2 ringgit per market per day. We have a combo plan, and that's something I want to share with you in here, or the plugin in here. Now, for those of you who are interested to sign up for our combo plan, we have a very special speaker, Dr. Gary Dayton, a psychologist, a sports psychologist, and he's been interviewed by many speakers and spoke before a lot on podcasts. Has a great book, Trade Mindfully, in here, and he will grace us for the next 3 months, 1 session per month in here, all right, for June, July and August. So that's one of the big benefit in here to sign up for a masterclass in here, because he can transform you to a seasonal trader with renewal goals, especially right now in this market, right, times of difficulty. So this is an access to his resource, and also to our coaches in here. We're able to help you, to lead you to a mental mastery. Now, if you haven't been doing well over the last 1 or 2 years in here, maybe this is something for you to upgrade your skill in here. Small fee, but big returns, just like what we saw before, the 77% success rate with the Pentagon Guide. Nowhere else you can get this kind of high success rate that we've seen before in here. Of course, right now we're going to be doing a couple of stock review in here, right? Many of the rules we already shared you before in here. Let's take a look at the audience. Some of you may have the stocks that you wanted me to look at. Definitely we have Wing Kit here for looking at Al Sawit. Yep, definitely let's take a look. The plantation stocks will do well, no worries about that, as I said before. MBSP, this is also finance stocks. Yep, no problem, lots of tests inside here. And check out this here, right? So take note, you can see every time when the market go above, let me just switch to a wider chart here so you can see it. So, okay, let me just switch to a wider chart here. So every time when the market, with the market stages, whenever you clock over the horizontal red line, you will see the market will pull back. Right now, it's still pretty good. So keep running your profit for Al Sawit should be doing well too. Run your profits. Now, if you are thinking of buying today, be very careful. The best time to buy when was the market opening of the next day. That's right? That's the one you want to be in there. So time and time again, many people fail to understand. They only want to buy when the market starts to move on. No, you want to buy it just like we bought for Hyaptech, right? When the market starts to move up. And how long we are keeping for? 20 days. 20 days, that's all. And you will have possible success rate of 77% success rate. But if you buy it right now here, your success rate may not be good. So I hope you are bought it earlier on for Mr. Chong here, right? how long is likely the plantation uptrend? Now let's take a look at the plantation uptrend. You have to go over to the plantation stocks. So this is where we will bring in the heavyweight, which is our Pentagon VSA 360, right? And we'll look at the plantation stock to answer one of our members question here. Okay, I'll probably have to log in again because, okay. So let's log in here. For those of you who wanted to test drive our VSA 360, take opportunity of the 10-day free trial with 30 minutes training. That's especially for those of you who wanted to have high win success rate. If you want to, check it out in there. And what we want to do is just go over to our sector here, turn it on, and we are looking at plantation. Okay, now if you look at plantation, just turn green Pentagon. All right, so when you turn green Pentagon in here, this was a nice washout in here. We may see for another 1 month of running, all right, based on historical in here. And as I said before, the Russian-Ukraine war may persist. So we may have a lot of opportunity we have not seen before. And also this morning news that Indonesia is banning their export, right? Check out that news also on our VSA newsletter in here. And probably you got to find out more. Okay. So that's my prognosis in here. And any more stocks, just pencil those in. I'm happy to look at them for you here, right? And of course, we want to just push on. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel in here, but not before our this Wednesday night talk on Metaverse. Now everybody is talking about Metaverse, some of the big broker houses. So I'm going to give you my opinion, what I think about the Metaverse stocks in here. So 9:30 p.m. this Wednesday, check out, and I'll be there. All right. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and check out our new playlist with the video at our glance in here. Many interesting YouTubes. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and share our Telegram chat room for your friends for benefiting the educational program that we have, and also possibility of having a high success rate with your trades using purely from our Trade VSA screener in here. So that's all I have for you today. And if you have any stocks you want me to look at, I'll be happy then. Else, I'll see you on Wednesday night. Bye-bye.